Okay, this is what we got on the Chatter News Guy update in Versailles, Vermont. We have the locals. They are active today because it's Sunday. A lot of them are home. Okay. One guy said, I yelled, what did I yell? There goes a cop right there. Just drove by. Right? So I yelled what? All right. They yell these stupid command lines, economic disaster, economic this. These are voice commands that these guys yell. Now, I yelled one that I repeated that someone said, and this guy goes, holy shit, that went right into my headset. Right? This is what this guy said. Now, if you listen to this channel, hold on. $520 something. They make up stuff. So now these people, or wherever they are, this has been going all night again. They have my house tagged by 3 location neighbors. Nobody's investigating these people. They're high-level drug dealers, okay? They do coke, meth, pot, okay? They have the stuff stashed in their homes up here with money. So they sit home, and they're usually wasted, and they're bored because think about it. You're sitting home, you got your little radio transmitter receiver. You place orders down south to South America, right? Or Nova Scotia is one of their Canadian contacts. So I hear them doing this all the time. Now, it's Sunday, so they're home. They partied all night because I heard them all night long, this chatter going on. Some of it's irrational chatter because there's an underlining comm channel. This chatter above it's a scrambled channel. What they did again, I'm a radio enthusiast, ham radio listener, communication guy. So they live in the street and in the area, and they saw me taking pictures, videotaping. They got very paranoid and assumed I was going after them. Was I? No. I did hear their signals hidden in the videos that I broadcast. I'd have a bird feeder set up, and I set up a camera to get some close shot images, some really cool birds up here, right? And they're on my Fort Hermit site. All these weird birds. I'm like, this is cool, you know? Now, as I'm doing this, I'm totally unaware that I'm picking up drug deals going on a sub-channel, right? Ultrasonic sub-channel. I'm not even aware. I had no clue, right? So these people are coming after me, thinking I'm like spying on them. I have no clue. I'm clueless. I'm in my own fucking world, doing photography, you know, dealing with life, you know, shoveling the driveway, working on the house, working on the vehicles, trying to build a future, you know, maybe get the house ready to sell it in 10 years by the time I retirement, go down south, get out of this cold area, you know? Meanwhile, I just think I'm dealing with riffraff, local potheads, you know, delinquents, degenerates, right? So I'm thinking I'm dealing with this degenerate group, right? So I sit there and report it, you know. The guy next door, Mr. Bowles, I thought he was just an alcoholic degenerate. I've dealt with them my whole life, you know, in construction. You know, some of these guys that drink way too much and they're belligerent, and it's like, just shut the fuck up and go back to your beer, you know? This guy, nah, he was a little bit worse than that, okay? Because he set me up. This was all a planned setup. Wires are very high tech. This is all stuff and technology that an advanced group of drug dealers would use, okay? They use these wires that you see. Now the pole right there, if you're watching the image, That's the pole runs to Mr. Bowles' house, which is right back to the right. Now, this is a long wire. This runs down the road 300 feet, another 300 feet. That's 600 feet. And then it tees off to the left, down 300 feet. And then it runs down a field, which goes another 1,000 feet one way and 1,000 feet the other way. And every once in a while, I hear this guy on his ground plane antenna trying to communicate with somebody, usually bits and pieces. And as soon as they hear or pick up that I'm observing or listening to them, they change their communication signal or they change their conversation, because they apparently put this Google thought chip, which allows them to perceive my visual interpretation of my world as well as my hearing. When they pick that up, right, they then know, gee, we got to hit Cullinan's listening. So they change their conversation topic or whatever. Right? Now, they did this before. I had no clue, because this was put it in Dartmouth, right? One of the recordings I had said they spent $25,000 to put this chip in. That would have been back in 2010, right? So they put this chip in. I had no clue it's in there. The only way I found out is it allows you, at the time, for them to interpret my visual speech, my hearing center, right? But I couldn't hear them. But yet, when I would analyze the radio, the ham radio, I'd always hear this distant signal in the background, very distant. And like if you listen to ham or any radio, when you hear something distant, you try to tune it in. And I tune up and tune down, and I'm like confused, like, gee, this isn't tuning up or down, you know? I'm like, this isn't even tuning, you know? So I would, I'd be really confused. And I'm like, why isn't this tuning up and down like a normal radio? And I would just brush it off like that. That's weird. And I would research it in the back of my mind. I found out it was electronic voice phenomenon, right? Someone's inducing a signal in the atmosphere that my body's picking up electronically. And it's actually being induced into my body. The same way a ham radio or CB would bleed through the TV and cause the TV signal to get all wobbly. And you'd hear someone go, right? So they're doing this. I didn't know it. Had my second surgery. This is after my neck swelled up because the guy, Mr. Bowles, had a microwave laser reader writer that he had to get into my dental device that he had to listen to. Otherwise, they couldn't hear what I was thinking, right, or saying, because they need to get what do you call it, constant feedback from the area. And whenever I'd move out of the field of the signal, they'd lose the connection, right? So they'd lose that upper hand they had on me because they're paranoid, right? I had no clue at the time. So the second surgery, they put these little earbuds, which is proved by the syringe holes in my ear canal that the doctor found in central Vermont, right? So these devices now that I learned, now that I could hear with them, and I listen back in time to when the first surgery occurred, and I listened to those old recordings, I can hear a comm channel going, somebody talking. Like I said, it's that very weak induced signal. But now with these new earbuds, I can hear it a little better now. You know what I mean? You can kind of tune it in. It kind of picks it up a tiny bit and amplifies it. Now, this is evident by going to Fort Hermit on YouTube, FORTHIRMIT, Fort Hermit. You go there, and I have videos. Go to the videos. It lists a bunch of shit for the other name. Go to where it says videos, and then it pulls up. I think I have like 60 videos there from the past. Go down, and watch some of those videos that look like security camera footage. One of them's a car pulling by the house. The guy yells something about my dog, continues on. Right? These are threats against my life. These are back in 2014, okay? This was back before the second surgery, which occurred that year, that summer in 2014, I believe it was, right? 15, 16, 17. No, maybe it was 15. So it occurred back then. So now I play those recordings, which I haven't listened to since my surgery, and you can hear a covert sound signal in the background. Very hard to hear. One person said something which I couldn't make out, and the other person, a woman, says, Joe's remaining very calm. Okay? And I'm, what the fuck? I'm listening to this. I watched this yesterday, day before. And I'm like, this is fucked up. And I'm like, what does she mean I'm remaining calm? And I'm thinking, I look at the date, it said, I don't know, was it 7/24/14? And I'm saying, fuck, man, that's a long time ago. I had no clue these people are watching me back then, to the point they're observing my emotional status with some sort of telemetry pointed at my house, okay? This is evident by those videos I have and the conversation they are having, which would be probable cause to indicate somebody is stalking me back then. So they upped the game. They put these new chips, which create a feedback, high-frequency ringing in your ears and in your nose and causes distress in your brain. They will keep this going night and day now because they want to prevent me from hearing their criminal activity around me. Now, the nitwit says to the other nitwit, why did you put earbuds so he can hear us? Harass him. He said, well, I wanted him to hear us because I got tired of yelling at him and not having him hear us. The other nitwit says, the other nitwit, do you realize you put earbuds in him so now he hears us? He goes, yeah, that's right. And he goes, don't you understand? The guy hears us making drug deals now, you moron. And he goes, yeah? Yeah! Why did you do that? And he goes, well, I wanted him to hear me, harass him, because they're trying to kill me or get me out of here, whatever they're trying to do, right? So now I can hear them better than I could before. So now I can tune in to this element, which no one else can hear, because you need these covert NSA, CIA earbuds that they, based upon their storyline, stole from Maine. From one of the manufacturers up there. The Maine has a naval base that works on stuff. So somehow someone stole some shit from there. This is the underground black marketeers that work in the federal, in the Army. This is that underground, that the CIA think works. These guys, they get their heroin that comes in from overseas, but it comes in this secret line, right? It doesn't come in on a rowboat, in other words. So now I can hear them, but you can't. But scientifically, you can. If you get the little handheld that some of them have, which allows you to hear the signal. So while you go and listen to my YouTube recordings back then, and you have the little handheld, right? Some of them have headset, and some have monitor in feature. So you go and use the mic input on your heads, on your walkie-talkie, which takes the input from your surrounding sound, sends it to your ears. But what you do now is you send it through the radio, utilizing the radio's descrambling techniques and amplifying techniques and down converter techniques, which allows the signal now to be heard audibly through the headset wearer, Like the man said, I hear him on my headset. Why? Because I'm transmitting on a covert signal from my residence that requires you to wear a headset and a special walkie-talkie receiver transmitter. Okay? Now, local law enforcement does not have this, nor does, I assume, the federal government, because it's covert from the Soviet Union. And the Indians, right? And the this so mafia, they call it. You know, it's the Russian mafia, the Indian mafia, the Pakistani mafia, the Iraqi mafia, the stupid name that all these idiots use, the criminal, organized crime. So somehow they got a hold of these channels that the CIA, NSA can't tune into. And they don't want to be bothered with it. This is so small time, but fucking Cullen, and let's let the fucking guy die. Just let him fucking die so we can get on with our life. Now, the thing is, I keep telling these NSA, CIA, FBI guys, is very clearly this. They are the ones pulsing the power grid. These are burst transmitters located at different locations. They constantly up here say, we're pulsing the White House, which means they have these little devices laying around the White House that when this pulse of energy goes really slow, it might come through in, let's say, 30 seconds. It'll be right? Now, if you're walking around and you're sensitive to electricity, you'll get like a tingle. You say, what the hell is that? Right? Now, what that's doing is putting out a frequency, say 96 kilohertz, you know, on a sub channel, and then it does a burst receive, right? The signal that this quasi-static magnetic near-field communication signal sucks it in and stores it within this pulse, and then we'll carry it to some other location where, if you have the right decoded software, will receive it. So they do this all the time. Now, in my residence, they acquire me because I have a chip in me. The teeth have the same concept. So what they want to do is listen all the time because they're bored. They're bored drug dealers. You know, they're testing, they're playing with their toys, you know. I'm like a test bed here. They have fun. They're snorting coke. Their brains are freaking out. You know, they have the same thought processor, some of them, which allow them this kind of a communication channel covertly while you stand 20 feet away without speaking. They can like, hello, how are you doing? But they talk, communicate with each other, right? So no one knows this. I don't know why they're doing it. I guess they're doing it because they're big-time drug dealers. But the guys up here, their plans are big because they're trying to substitute their people into the homes up here, which are very spread apart. So they're occupying homes and identities, and they substitute somebody. And then now that person conceivably collects a Social Security check, and all they got to do is go to the mailbox, pay the bills, right? No one ever checks on them, right? That goes on and on. So I'm telling the chatter news. I hear them. Now this morning, I'm sleeping and they're going off. They're going off. And they're in a frenzy this morning. Okay, it's 12 o'clock. They've been going since, since 6 a.m. nonstop. In this frenzy. It reminds you of 1970s kind of Hare Krishna, you know, something from Hair, you know? Like they're tripping on acid, yelling and screaming, and like in this communication frenzy amongst each other. No one knows what you're talking about, yet they're communicating. You know, peace, love, happiness, but they're not preaching peace and love. They're preaching chaos, sex. They don't even listen to music, you know? So I sit here again. Now it's Sunday, 128. I made it. I got 1 month to go, and then hopefully I can escape if they allow me. Because the minute I start going outside, they turn on these directional energy weapons that point right fucking up the road there. This guy watches me. He can see me right on my property moving around. This guy here. Right, he builds his house right next to mine. He looks right down on me and he watches me, right? The other one sits up there. They watch. Or they set a camera up in their window. Or someone sets one up on their house in the back. How do I know? Because I reported. One day I'm walking through my yard, right? I go to my backyard and my ears start ringing really loud. I'm like, whoa. I step back 2 feet. It's gone. I step over 1 foot. There it is. I track it in. I'm like, holy shit. There's a high frequency noise coming out of this house. Now, if that was like an odor of gas, right? You'd call the gas company and say, I smell gas coming from this home. But in this case, I hear a very loud frequency coming from this home. Now, what happened? A year later, my house burnt down because go to, let's see, what is it on? Joe Cullinan. Watch those videos of my house burning. Analyze the sound with your little handheld scrambler, descrambler, decoder that you've picked up. Analyze the channels in the background. They are talking about me walking around with my little Android tablet videotaping the fire. They are actually having a conversation about me, right? About how they got me out of there and who is next, they said. The lady up the road is next, they said. They said, good, that guy's not coming back. Well, I'm back. So what can I say? I wonder how long, right? Eventually, I'm going to piss these people off so bad that they're going to show up and there's going to be like a gunfight of some sort, you know? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. These things, you know, the cops don't know it, but they don't, because they don't hear it. Every time I say, do you hear that? They're like, no. I can go out to the road, right? Right there. Road. And I sit there out in the road. And I sit and I listen to this sound right here. I crank this. Okay, sounds like noise, right? But when you're out in the road, you can hear this noise, just jibble, jarble, jarble, gibber, talking, conversation. Now, this is only this little audio channel that picks up the audio and descrambles it in the atmosphere so my ears can hear it. I can hear that out on the road. Like if I talk like this and you're on the road, you would hear me. Listening to me on this descrambled channel. They're observing me. They're surveilling me. But they're not law enforcement, okay? This stuff is so high tech, law enforcement doesn't even use it. The guy yesterday is talking about how he can see me in my cot because I had a light on. And he can see the light on in my cot. And I'm going, holy shit, where did that come? My brain's not thinking this. So they monitor your thoughts and your perceptive reality around you. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm shutting my eyes, I'm daydreaming, I'm thinking into space. And this guy's talking about the light that I have on that he sees. And he's looking for the pack of M&Ms near my neck, right? And I'm like, holy shit. And then some other guy gets on and says, what do you got? You know what? You're the one that takes that stuff from the firehouse, one guy says. He goes, what do you mean? He says the firehouses have those infrared cameras that you look at homes. He said all the tubes are burnt out. They're only good for like 12,000 hours. He goes, yeah, I know. I got this one from Orford, he said. I go down and I just borrow and take them. No one knows. So they borrow all this stuff from law enforcement and the fire departments, which aren't used except in an extreme emergency. And they use them up, right? None of the fire or police departments are aware that this covert high-tech stuff that they're assigned to use in an emergency is being used by a group of criminals that have access to first responders, okay? These are the ones that would take out the first responders before the next attack, which I feel myself, listen, they said they're not gonna. Do you know why? Because they are the first responders, these people. Infiltrated the police departments, the fire departments, because they remember the news. You know, after 9/11, all they talked about were protecting the first responders. So they made a plan was, let's create our own first responders. And which ones that are embedded long term, let's brainwash them and make them kind of loony. So this is what they've done up here. Now up here, this is so small time. I mean, the guy, when I moved up here, I don't think I saw but one fire in 10 years, right? In the past 5 years, I've witnessed what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fires. It's as though there was an escalation of these fires that are occurring, as well as deaths occurring. They call them untimelies, right? Now, this is occurring. No one seems to quite get it, right? They've infiltrated. These are spies. They will adamantly say, Mr. Cullen is crazy. I've been here for 20 years, right? Since 9/11, right? And there's no proof, right? But yet, they don't know how to speak American culture. They don't understand. When you talk to them, you know, you remember Gilligan Island? You say to them? I'm like, Gilligan's Island. What are you talking about? Who's Marcia Brady? Marcia Brady, what? The Bradys? What the hell are you talking about? Right? Well, you want to get smart or not? And they're like, what the fuck's this guy talking about? Beam me up, Scotty? Does that sound familiar? And this guy's like, what the hell is this? This guy's fucking a lunatic. And they'll all talk amongst each other. This guy's a lunatic. You hear what he's talking about? Now, anyone else figure that out? I'm signing off now, and I want you to figure out what I was talking about.